Hi there guys, Alexander here and welcome to another one. I'm doing the vlog number 2 here from the nature. I'm here in the park with my wife and my son, and I've just decided to do it from here. In today's kind of weekly update that I started doing last week, I'm gonna just talk a little bit about what we're gonna be doing and what we did the last week, this previous week. As many of you know, we've been working on UseAGVForm, which is a custom React hook that I built long ago for Programmer Network. And essentially it's a hook that we use for validating all of our forms. And that hook essentially utilizes AGV schema and then produces the form object that then you can use to validate your forms. UseAGVForm is not coupling any of your forms in any way, so it's fully agnostic of how you structure your forms, which inputs you use, etc., etc., etc. Essentially, the hook itself only produces the form object, and then the form has, set field, reset, on blur, and then it has debouncing and stuff that we implemented this week. So essentially, this week we've implemented a way that, actually last night in the stream we implemented the debounce. So as you're typing in the field and you stop typing, the validate is going to run after 500 milliseconds. Last night, also the last things that I did, I extended the options of the UseAGVForm, so it's a little bit more customizable for people. So for instance, now you can pass your own custom messages, your own custom validators, etc., etc., etc. Another thing that we did also is we kind of installed UseAGVForm as a development dependency inside of our Yale, yet another interface library storybook. And we're basically now kind of combining both our own inputs and AGVForm so we can see how it looks like. And this is also to kind of advertise our own interface library as well as a bit. So as you can see, we're going to cross-reference some of those libraries we're building, not just the Programmer Network platform, but also to various different other libraries we're building so people can actually know that they exist, right? So essentially, for the next couple of days, we're going to most likely continue with yet another interface library with UseAGVForm. A few insights that I got out of this work is that changes that we're going to make, we're going to write a lot more tests. So basically those 2 or 3 libraries that we just open sourced just showed me that writing tests today with ChatGPT is so easy, it's incredibly easy. It's so easy that it's no longer justified not to write them. So we wrote all of these libraries in TypeScript, we fully unit tested them, the coverage is really high. I think what would be cool that we do for example, as part of GitHub Actions is that we also generate some Istanbul or some sort of test reports, so people who are actually installing this can kind of get a little bit more insights into how actually well tested it is, because this is always one of the things that people do appreciate. What I'm going to do today as well, most likely if I have the time, as I said last night in the stream, I'm going to record a little video about validating forms in React with UseAGVForm, and also I'm going to create a little Fastify API, and that API essentially is going to just produce some errors, and then I'm going to showcase how you can consume those errors inside of your UseAGVForm, and then how easily they're presentable. So overall, to summarize, the things are going really great in that sense. We are writing a lot of tests, we are improving our existing libraries, we're turning them into open source. So my prediction is for the next 2 or 3 days, I think we're still going to be doing this. And then at one point, we will actually have to stop and then go back to front end of Programmer Network and then install the actual UseAGVForm as a separate dependency, install our UI interface library as well, and then we're going to actually need to start replacing all of the stuff that we have in the Programmer Network front end with those libraries themselves. I think next week we're also going to see if there's anything else that we can or that we should open source. There may be still some components in our programmatic front end that we have to move. And there's a probability that we will have to go back to TipTap.js a little bit, because I've noticed, for example, currently in production, if you go to the feed and you try to write a thought, it actually it writes very slow. So when you press a character, it's almost that the TipTap editor is lagging. There's probably some thing that's happening when you press a key that shouldn't. Maybe we are executing too many things in the background. We'll need to fix that. And then we'll need to eventually also maybe in the upcoming week rethink the limits, the character limits, max and mins all over the platform, because for example, past couple of times when I was sharing a thought, I would get limited by the amount of characters. I don't think that's useful. I don't think we should be limiting people when they're sharing a thought to anything, because in most cases people will write something reasonable. So yeah, so that's the goal, that's the plan. Stabilize, open source more stuff, try to get more people to use those tools, try to get some of you to support the project by contributing to those libraries, by improving them, by using them, and then at the very least coming up with some suggestions or ideas how we can improve them. And then of course build the programmer network as a platform with those constraints in mind. So now when I start actually using the Yale in programmer network and use UseAGVForm, we'll have to be very cautious about how we actually use those things, so we don't actually need to customize them and then ruin the genericness of those tools. Anyway, I wish you guys best. I hope to see you either today or tomorrow. And that's Alex for today. I wish you guys best. Have a great one. Cheers. Peace out. Bye-bye.